And we are live. What is good, my ninjas? Welcome to the stream. Today I'm going to do a quick one. I'm going to talk about why you should be interested and not interesting on a first date and what you should be asking as well to get to know a girl. All right. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Rob Based. I'm a dating and relationship coach. I started helping out divorced dads, but I'm focusing my attention now to Asian guys because look, I'm an Asian guy too. I know what it's like out there to be in the sexual dating marketplace and not know a thing. And it's better to be armed with information than to not be and go in it blind and trying to figure it all out on your own. All right. I'm gonna be streaming live every day for the month of December because I want to put out a mini course, so to say, a catalog of content for the Asian guy. So you guys can level up your dating IQ and you can come on this journey with me as well. All right. And if you want to get up to speed, you can check out all my previous streams that I did so you can arm yourself with the right knowledge and don't make any of the same mistakes that other guys are doing right now. Okay. A lot of people charge money for this stuff. All right. And all I ask is you guys like the video on the way out. That's it. Doesn't cost you a thing. And if you do end up getting some value and it changes your life in some way, make sure to subscribe. All right. It does help out the channel and it's going to be a long ride. All right. So just make sure you guys gear up and get ready. All right. If I disappear, I'm also streaming on Rumble. So you guys can find me on there because a lot of this stuff that I talk about isn't too algo friendly. All right. So I'm doing this all for y'all at the sake of my expense. But hey, I do it because, like I said, I want you guys to level up. All right. Okay, ninjas. I'm going to teach you guys a quick networking tool that I've used whenever I'm either speed networking with people at an event or I'm trying to get to know them in a more warmer setting, right? And it's called Ford. Not like the car or truck, but FORD. And F stands for family and friends, O stands for occupation, R stands for recreation, and D stands for dreams. Okay? And I use this on a first date as well too, not just in a network setting. But the key to getting to know someone, whether it be in a networking setting or on a first date, is like I said, you want to be the one who's interested, not the one who is interesting. The first is curiosity, while the latter is being self-centered. Okay, she's gonna remember the date better if she got to talk about herself more. She's gonna feel like the date went well because it wasn't just you blabbering on about your job and whatnot, right? And I'm not saying you shouldn't sprinkle in your 2 cents and also get her interested in you, but you need to leave more mystery than you do um, by just disclosing everything to her, okay, and letting her know your life story. And by doing that, you become more curious about her history and what makes her her. And the key is to be interested, but not so intrusive, okay? You need to balance that out with like some humor, some charm, and charisma in case, like, she does say something that is a little bit dark, okay? So you got to bring it back. Um, and also, you got to try and ask open ended questions, okay? Open ended questions are things that she can't answer with just a simple yes or no or one word answers, right? So instead of asking her, like, are you an only child? Like you can say things like, the vibe I get from you is, it just screams like you're the stubborn middle child or something, dot, 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 right? She's going to be more inclined to tell you about her family or playfully ask back, like, oh my God, why do you think that, right? So be creative with the way that you ask your questions because, again, the conversation is going to go a lot better if it's like that. All right. Another anagram that you guys should remember is OSA, okay? And it stands for observe, statement, and ask. So going back to that family question, right? If you start off with like, oh my God, let's say you start off with that question, you're like, oh my God, the vibe I get from you is like you seem like, the stubborn middle child or whatever. And then she replies and says, oh my God, how did you know I was the middle child? I have an older brother and younger sister, blah, 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 blah. They're 2 years older and 1 year younger or whatever. Like that's when you start in to bring in the OSA, okay? Observe, state, ask. So observation is like, well, I could tell because you seem like you're very independent. and you can adapt easily, right? That's the observation that you made. Statement, you can say, look, hey, I'm a middle child too. I was constantly left to do my own thing as my older and younger brothers got all the attention. And then A is the ask part. So what was it like growing up for you? And this shows that you're paying attention and that you're genuinely curious to get to know her. Okay? And so, since F stands for family or friends, then you can move on to the O, which is occupation. Again, asking open ended questions like, so what kind of things do you hate about your job? Or, what kind of things do you like about your job? Right. And she responds. And then you can go into OSA and then you just rinse and repeat. Okay. And just remember, like, forward is just a way for you to remember to ask the right questions. Like, so you don't, you know, have any radio air silence while you guys are on the first date. You can keep things flowing because you have, a barrage of questions you can ask. And so the key is like, use this as a general rule of thumb. Like, you don't have to go in order, right? You don't have to think, okay, I asked her about her family. Now I got to ask her about her job. Oh, I should ask her what she likes to do for fun. Like, like just chill a bit, and you don't have to always go in order. Just think about what logically makes sense in the moment. Okay. And you can ask her about her hobbies first, right? Instead of asking her about her family, right? So it doesn't really matter the order. It's just, like I said, it's just a general rule of thumb. Okay. And honestly, like I forget to do this myself as well. Like on first dates, it is like I try to keep things lighthearted. Okay, I've been on so many first dates with chicks that like sometimes I forget that it's not a job interview, right? I'm not trying to, you know, like it is sort of like a job interview, but I'm not trying to like seem like I'm her employer. Okay, so a good thing is to keep it lighthearted, and humor really does go a long way. Okay, and the better that you get at this, obviously, the more interesting you become to her. Okay, and so like you have to realize like everyone loves talking about themselves, and if you try to keep the focus on her, she's going to feel important and that you actually care about like her, and you want to know things about her. Okay, and that's going to leave her more curious about you, because if she's talking about her most of the time during the date, and again you're doing your best to leave as much mystery as you can, um it's going to make her want to see you another time. Okay, my trick is always like, a very low investment first date: coffee, bubble tea, or you can go to happy hour and have like a 1 or 2 drink max and say, look, I actually got to run, but it's good to get to know you. Maybe we could do this another time, and then you leave. Okay. um Another trick, and I've been guilty of this as well, is like sometimes I do brag and I get a little too braggadocious sometimes, right? So you can say things without actually saying them. And like I said, sometimes I'll say things I'm like, oh fuck, why did I say that, right? um but it's better to demonstrate as opposed to explicate, meaning like, look, sometimes when you show up to a nice date or a nice place that you go to and you're wearing a nice watch, it tells her that you're probably like a man of higher status. You work hard to get the things that you want in your life. And let's say she does ask you about your watch, right? You'll be like, oh, this old thing? Yeah, it was just a gift to myself. And that's it. Pause and move on to the next thing. You're basically insinuating that, look, hey, I do make a lot of money. I do treat myself, and at least I'm humble about it, as opposed to like, yeah, this is a two-tone Datejust Rolex that are like, she doesn't care about the details. All right, as much as you do. She just wants to know, like, what you think about it, how you feel about it, and stuff like that. So anyway, don't be so braggadocious. Somewhat be humble about it, but also be proud of your accomplishments. Okay, because it shows confidence. Anyways, when you do find some common interests or goals with her, like, you should try and elaborate on those as much as you can. So, for example, like if she mentions that she likes traveling, right? You can ask her what's next on her bucket list, right? And if it's something that's on yours, let's say, then you could talk about the food, the culture, why you want to visit, right? You can elaborate on those topics because it's a lot easier when you guys have common interests, right? And I always like to pretend like we're planning the trip together, right? We call this like future faking, right? And so when you pretend like you're planning this trip together and that you guys are gonna go together and whatnot, it gets her thinking like, maybe we could go together, okay? And again, that makes her more interested to go on a second date with you. All right. So another thing, like I said, first date shouldn't really feel like a job interview. It's just more or less like a peek into the future of what it would be like if you guys were actually a couple, right? So I like to pretend like we already are a couple when we're on dates. Okay. It helps with the banter back and forth, right? As long as you're keeping it friendly and you're not coming off like a creep or a weirdo or anything like that, right? Like women are always constantly checking for that, so you can't go too much, right? Uh, just some girls have a higher tolerance than others, but you need to figure that out and kind of be calibrated in that sense. All right. I'm not going to share that story. I had a funny story about that, but I'm not going to share that story. Maybe for another stream. All right, ninjas. I'm gonna keep this one short because I got a bunch of shit I got to do today. Hence why the stream is right now. I'm probably not gonna be available tonight, so I had to stream during the day before I go out there and do some stuff. So um, remember Ford, FORD, family, friends, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Right. So recreation I didn't talk about is like what she likes to do for fun, and then dreams is like what she sees herself doing in the next like 3, 4, 5 years. And that question is really important because like you get to see whether or not like she wants kids or she's more career focused or whatever, right? Which is a really really important question depending on where you guys are at in your life. Okay. Anyways, so FORD and then OSA, observe, statement, ask. Okay. Be interested, not interesting. Okay. And she's going to remember the date a lot more the next day. And she's going to, you know, mystery, right? Like if you leave mystery, she's going to be more curious about you the next time. All right. All right. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow night as we only got a week and a bit of this mini course left, right? So get caught up if you guys can. And I can't wait to dive in on some future topics with you. Like I said, I'm going to be live reacting to some, day-to-day content, right? Like the things I want to talk about, I can't really do that right now because if I start just live reacting to certain things and talking about certain female dynamics or, if I mention like hypergamy or if I mention like uh, other just nuances that I've been talking about on this stream, not just this stream, but in the past videos, like you guys can understand where I'm at, so I don't have to pause, go back, repeat myself, and yada yada yada. Okay. Anyways, make sure to like the video on the way out and subscribe if you guys got some value out of this. Okay, and tell a friend as it really does help out the channel. A lot of this stuff does get shadow banned. It does go kind of like it does kind of get ratioed and put under the radar. So if you guys are seeing this, it's definitely a good thing. Okay. Anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Rob Base signing off. Peace out, ninjas.